Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and we've got kind of a weird web of alleged sexual abuse to go over involving Harvey Weinstein, Hillary Clinton, Matt Lauer, Black Cube, and much more. Now, for those unfamiliar with Black Cube, this is the private intelligence firm out of Tel Aviv, Israel, that is set up by former intel agents of Israel, Mossad, and otherwise. They are also the ones that were actually introduced to Weinstein by former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. But we will get there. So the majority of this stuff is stemming from the reporting by Ronan Farrow. Now, Ronan Farrow is Mia Farrow's son. Some people think he's Frank Sinatra's son, but Woody Allen is supposedly his father, and estranged father because of, again, the alleged abuse against Ronan's sister. Now, what's really interesting to me about all of this is that Weinstein, number one, take a look at his friends. Weinstein really tried to use his pull, and did in many instances use his pull to suppress the stories about him that Ronan Farrow was going after, and he was using Hillary Clinton as a tool. They mentioned many times in this article that Lena Dunham several times talked to top aides of Hillary Clinton saying, look, Harvey Weinstein is a rapist. It's going to come out. Stop associating with him at these events. You need to cut ties now. And that did not work. Obviously, Woody Allen had no pull. Now, when we get into Black Cube, and I want to get into Lauer afterwards, but when we get into Black Cube, okay, we got a lot of new information on that. First of all, like I said, he was introduced to him by Ehud Barak. So the former Prime Minister of Israel is working with one of the heads of Hollywood to cover up his sexual abuses against people like Rose McGowan and others. And that's where this article, at least with Black Cube, gets very, very interesting. Okay, it starts to talk about how it's confirmed that they absolutely were not only spying and following on her, but I believe Wallace is another one. Is it Ben Wallace? I don't want to misspeak, but we'll find it. And basically telling them, listen, if you don't cut this out, and this is the Dunham part, we're going to bring things out against you. And Ronan Farrow is on the end of that as well. He is threatened with his uncle and saying, look, your uncle is a sexual abuser of children. This is something I didn't know. John Villers Farrow, the brother of Mia Farrow, was sentenced to 25 years in prison for abusing two boys over decades. Not a lot is talked about that, and he says he has never met his uncle. So you just see how they find these leverage points. Now, one of those leverage points happened to be Matt Lauer. Before it came out that Matt Lauer was essentially, I'm going to say allegedly, a sexual predator, and now there are allegations that he is a rapist, by the way, and we'll get into that in a second. Lauer finally responded. He was making his way back because people were, he's on TikTok with his daughter. Matt Lauer's back. Now, some of the allegations against Matt Lauer was that he had an office with a button underneath that would lock the door behind people, that he was having affairs with a ton of, numerous women. And apparently the one big allegation was against this woman who was working at the station and said she didn't want to be fired, but after they went on a skiing trip or somewhere out there was where he anally raped her. But here's where it gets really tricky for me. She continued to see him after the fact. She didn't cut ties with him. But as soon as the Me Too thing started, I'm not defending Matt Lauer. I'm just saying that, especially if you look at the Weinstein case right now, he swapped his lawyers out, and, they're giving interviews saying he's going to be exonerated. And remember, this guy is walking around today. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of the new information on Black Cube. First of all, the double agent, the insider, if you will, that Ronan Farrow believes gave him the inside documents that showed that Weinstein was indeed following these people, was threatening these people, was sending them various information, had copies of Rose McGowan's memoirs before they were published. Okay? They refused to ever meet in person, ever do a video chat of any kind, reveal any kind of identity whatsoever, and would only talk through an encrypted email. Now, in this article, he believes that this agent was a woman and was just disgusted with what was happening against actual women who had been sexually abused and how they were being treated from within the agency. That's the theory that is run in this piece right here. And it's a good piece. It's the Hollywood Reporter. A lot of their stuff is pretty terrible. But if you read here, Sleeper rebuffed my pleas for an encrypted call or an in-person meeting. I can understand your editor's concern, although I'm afraid to reveal my identity. Here it is. Every online method can be monitored these days. It's hard for me to trust it won't come back to me, Sleeper wrote. 100% correct. So in order to do something like this, to communicate this way, let me explain how it would work for someone like this. They would have to go out, purchase a clean laptop, or perhaps one from somebody else on a, on a Facebook site or something like that. Probably log in on an internet dummy account somewhere with a VPN elsewhere, so the IP address can't be tracked. You paid cash for it, that can't be tracked. You never want to be seen with the device you're using, so that's going to be in a backpack. And who knows, you can do all of this stuff through something as small as a phone too. So you get a device. You don't associate it with a Google account that's yours or any of that stuff, and you just remain anonymous through an encrypted email service, and then like a Veracrypt type software to get to files. That's how you would do this. Now this is actually part 3 of his Black Cube series. Thank you, Flip Venom. I appreciate that. Here's for a cuppa. Great work. There's 2 paragraphs in this I'm going to read to you. Because remember, all of this gets confirmed once the agent inside Black Cube starts giving Ronan Farrow this information. Okay? And these are the 2 paragraphs I really want to read to you. This is the first one. First of all, this is very beginning of this. And remember, this is a 3-part series. And it's really about the release of more excerpts of his book, by the way, on the whole matter. So 2 men close to the Black Cube operation who spoke on the condition of anonymity offered a similar denial. In a series of phone calls, they said that the agency had only done internet searches, research for Weinstein, and that operatives had never contacted reporters or accusers. Basically, listen, you can't do this type of work without breaking the law, period. But they're saying, no, we did internet research. I pressed them about the names of the target list, because with Rose McGowan, they placed somebody very close to her who was lying to her, gave her a false identity. I've reported on this in the past for We Are Change, okay? I pressed them about the names on the target list, including McGowan and another actress who had accused Weinstein of assault in my reporting, Annabella Sciorra. Weinstein had denied any allegations of non-consensual sex. We never approached any of these. The man with the deeper of the 2 voices said, I also made sure with my team here, any of you wrote here, Annabella Sciorra, Rose McGowan. I told them that both Ben Wallace, see, like I said, Ben Wallace was the other one who was being followed, and I suspected that we had been targeted. All right? Now, remember, Ronan Farrow was targeted by these people. We don't generally work on journalists as a target, came the reply, and this is great. The man with the higher voice swore that they were telling the truth. We're Talmud Jews, he said. We don't swear for nothing. The calls were both ominous and entertaining. Oh, we're religious men. We would never, ever do that. So here's where it tells you it is where it's founded, okay? Black Cube was founded in 2010 by Dan Zarella and Avi Yanis, 2 veterans of a secret Israeli intelligence unit. The agency stressed that its tactics had been vetted by attorneys, vetted by attorneys around the world, and that it stayed within the letter of the law. The agency's agreement with Weinstein specified that all of the firm's activities would be conducted by legal means and in compliance with all applicable laws and regulations. Of course, that's how it reads. And Travis Jacob, thank you very much for that super chat. But others in the private intelligence world told me that Black Cube had a reputation for flouting rules. In 2016, 2 of its operatives were jailed in Romania for intimidating a prosecutor and hacking her emails. So they're hacking into private emails. Like I said, they're getting memoirs. They're following people. They're intimidating people. They're impersonating people. They were convicted and received suspended sentences. One person involved with Black Cube's operations told me, it's impossible to do what they do without breaking the law. When I asked the head of competing Israeli private intelligence firm who had dealings with Black Cube what I should do if I suspected that I was being followed by Black Cube or a Black Cube agent, he said, just start running. Well, folks, I really hope that Weinstein does actually serve some prison time, but I doubt that's going to happen. And if you want to know why, maybe you should check out my films and see how the world really works. Loose Change Final Cut and Fabled Enemies are both on 9/11 and really expose this cabal, this international intelligence network that runs the show. Free on this channel, documentaries playlist section. Please go check them out. Then there's Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. My big picture, it was kind of my swan song to globalism. And then Shade the Motion Picture, very, very proud of that. Bilderberg, geoengineering, bioengineering, and then some solutions at the end. So go check those out right now. If you found this interesting, if it's information that you hadn't seen before, make sure you thumbs this video up, share it with others, and if you can, why don't you subscribe right now to the Burmese Brigade? Join the club, guys. It's not about left or right. It's about right and wrong. You can disagree me. You can hate me. It's all right. I always respond to respectful comments and conversation, and I love you guys for it, and that's why we're about right and wrong here, not about left and right. $5, $10, $15 on the GoFundMe means the world to me. I'm really trying to hit that $5,000 mark. We're already 9 days deep into this month, so I got to hustle, and keep pushing forward so we can try to get to that, and I can try to make a living wage and continue to bring you real news that matters that you might not see anywhere else. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thumbs it up, and I'll see you on the flip.